Uh, Christopher Pappas, thank you so very much for joining me tonight on So Zoom In. It's a YouTube channel that I started not too long ago during this pandemic. This pandemic seems to have changed everyone's lives. And you, I believe, I feel, are absolutely amazing because you don't stop. You're a musician where you just keep creating. And one of the things that I love about you is you offer your talents to pretty much anyone who wants to make music. And even with this pandemic, it hasn't stopped you. And I want to talk more about that and how you are providing this incredible service to people in a very creative, feel good. I believe it's a very, very feel good way. And I just want other people to know more about you. So thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, no, thank you for having me. Yeah, I'd be excited to talk about that. I guess it started about a year ago. Yeah, I believe last summer. I started this Airbnb experience. And for those people who don't know, Airbnb is this website that typically you can get rentals on there, like vacation rentals, or if you're traveling to a new city, people rent out their apartments to you and stuff like that. It's like a peer-to-peer rental rental sort of website. But on the other half of it, they had what's called an experience. And that's when hosts in certain cities provide some sort of unique experience for when people are traveling and visiting the city. And I suppose the idea is that you'll have a place to stay and you'll have something to do now too. That was sort of the model that Airbnb was going for. And I created an experience called Write and Record a Song in LA. And so people from all over the world who were visiting LA would come to my home studio that I record my music, my own music at, and they'd come and we'd write and record a song together. And like you said, some of them most of them had never written a song before. They're not professional musicians by any stretch of the imagination. They just wanted the experience. And I think that's just awesome, because just right off the bat, I think the people that I'm getting are, it's a self-selected group of people that are like, I know nothing about this and I want to dive feet first into it. And those are just the funnest people to work with. So I'm really lucky in that way. And so we write a song together. It lasts about like 4 hours typically. And then I'll mix it and do kind of a mastering job for them, and they'll get a finished song that we had written that day, Obviously, since the pandemic, I've had to change the format. I'm not letting people, it's just not safe to bring travelers by no less into my house. Not that people are really traveling that much to begin with. But I have been doing it remotely, over Zoom like this. And it's been great and it works. I've been doing it with people who have had the experience with me before, because I think I wouldn't want to introduce somebody to songwriting. Like I feel like I have been introducing people, like I'm their first contact in the world of songwriting, and I don't want their experience to be over Zoom. I just don't feel it's just not the full thing, the person to person. But with people that I already have a rapport with, and that I have worked with before, it works like a charm. And I've that's not to say that I wouldn't take on new people, but I just have such a fear of them. It's one thing and this is just a general philosophy I have. It's one thing to do something and go, I nailed it. And the person going, I didn't really like it. And you go, okay, it's a little disappointing, but like, I did it. I did my best. But like, if somebody weren't to like it and it was because it was over Zoom, it would always nag at me that I was like, if it was just the real thing, it's not my best, like, I don't feel like I can really, I can mix the song fine and the songs are turning out great. But I do, if I say so myself, there's something about being in the room with me and the artist, and there's an energy there that I think for people who have worked with me before still come across via Zoom, but for the new initiates, I kind of want to hold off until I can allow people back into my place again. So as of now, the Airbnb is suspended. And so I've only been working with repeat customers. But again, that's not to say if people see this and they reach out and I'm sure we could work something out, and I'm sure that it's just as good. Maybe it's just my insecurity about it, so.
Well, I know what you mean. There is something when you're in person together where you do have that magical energy happening, and you are just so great with people, having, you changed my daughter's life, which was
That is
so exciting.
So awesome to hear.
And just to see, because it was great to watch you work and to you just be in that energy zone where you were so encouraging, and you knew just the right thing to say to let her try something different to get it, and that was exciting to see. But my concern is I don't know when we can go back to normal, especially with the governor keeping things shutting down everything again as of yesterday. But what your service is, it's just so inspiring to people to be creative and to create something that they never would have thought of before. And so even if things don't open up again soon, I really hope you keep doing it and new people come to you, because you create magic, Christopher.
That's great. That's great to know.
So exciting. And that's why I wanted to talk with you, because you are a musician. You've been a musician your whole life, right?
Yeah, since I was very young, I started playing guitar when I was, well, it's funny, I started writing songs before I played any instruments. When I learned how to play an instrument, it was to play my songs. I was like, oh, I should learn how to play a few instruments so I can play the songs that I've been writing in my head. I'd write lyrics and have melodies. And then when I started learning guitar, I was finally able to be like, all right, I can write songs now. That's what I always wanted to be. I never wanted to be like a lead guitarist, or I'm not particularly virtuosic on any instrument. I'm kind of a jack of all trades. I can play all the instruments sort of well. But what I really wanted to do was be a songwriter. It was what brought me to music, and being able to express myself through the songs that I was writing. It's just always appealed to me the most. And playing an instrument was almost a means to an end.
Now, before the pandemic, you had a band that you'd play with, right? Like you play regularly?
Yeah, I have a few projects. I have a solo project called Elle Belle, ELLBELLE, which is actually on the screen. I don't know if our names come up on the Zoom. Maybe I'll just do this. I'll go, I'll say Elle Belle is my solo project. And then I have a band called the Everyday Visuals. And that is a, Elle Belle is a bit more garage rock. And the Visuals is much more Beach Boys inspired harmonies, Crosby, Stills, Nash, that Laurel Canyon, like circa 65 through 71. Cool. The Byrds we get compared to a lot. It's very like jangle pop, whereas Elle Belle is a bit more garage rock, synthy. Elle Belle definitely is more of a, there's a bunch of different genres mixed in because it's more of just where my mind takes me.
Nice.
But yeah, and I have a record coming out November 13th, an Elle Belle record. It's going to be on this label called Little Record Company, who's it's based out here in LA, and they put out all my records. It's run by one of my friends, Pierre DeReader. He was in this great band called Rilo Kiley, and we became friends, and he had this awesome label. Some of my favorite artists are on it, and he was like, let's put out some records. And I was like jumping for joy, but it's so funny because he just, we're such good friends now, but like, he doesn't realize how like momentous and how like stars in my eyes I was about the whole thing when we first started working together. I was like, I moved to LA and I'm signed to a fucking rad indie label, and like we're recording in this beautiful studio that he owns. He like owns this beautiful studio, and it was just like, and he's just so nonchalant about it because he's just such a sweet guy, and he's just one of the best guys. And so we've been working together, I mean, nearly 10 years now.
Wow,
Just
that's great.
one of my great friends out here, and just like such an awesome musician, such a supportive guy, and I can always like count on him to like, I'll just spill like all these rants and ravings, and he just knows how to like kind of collect it and organize it, and he's just really great. And he plays bass in the Everyday Visuals. He joined that
Oh,
band, so now he's in that band with us. And the Everyday Visuals are him, myself, a gentleman named Joe Siders, who is also in this band called the New Pornographers, who are awesome. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. They have, I mean, they've been around for so long. He just joined them. I mean, it's been a while now, about 4 years, I think. But they've been around for like nearly 15 years. And have a ton of great records out. Their last record was awesome. Just consistently great songwriting and all that. And then Kyle Fredrickson is the fourth member, guitarist, mixer, great recording engineer in his own right. And Joe and I started the band in New England. I came from Boston originally, and via New Hampshire, I guess, or New Hampshire via Boston. And us three moved out together as like the core members of the Everyday Visuals. And like I said before, I met Pierre when I came out here. I had a solo thing. He signed me to his label, then joined the Everyday Visuals.
So when are you guys coming out with an album for that band?
So it was supposed to be this year as well.
Right.
But I think the visuals, we want a tour behind the record. We had some plans to get some dates on the books this summer, and unfortunately that's no more. And so we are going to put that on hold. And in the meantime, I'm going to focus on putting out the Elle Belle record.
So are you guys getting together like via Zoom or?
No, not really, because the record's already, it's finished.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's mixed, it's mastered. We got the artwork, like it's finished. And it has been finished for quite some time, but you know, we all got busy with other stuff. Joe especially, he was touring a lot with the New Pornographers. And I think, you know, Joe, Kyle and I have been playing together since high school.
Wow.
I've been playing with Joe Siders, the drummer for the Everyday Visuals, longer than I haven't been playing with them in my life, you know? And so I think there was an element of us just wanting to do different things for a while. Right. You know, I think everybody got busy. Joe had a couple kids in the interim, you know, that slows people down, but he was also touring with the New Pornographers a bunch. I was really rolling with Elle Belle. I released a few records. Kyle was helping his friend Taylor build a studio. And then Pierre's got Pierre's got like a ton of plates spinning at once. That guy is just always busy, always doing something. And so we, you know, it's crazy how quickly a year goes by, then 2 years, and then 3, and then it's like, shit, we've been sitting on this album for a little bit. Let's get it out there. Yeah. And you know what? My summer's like relatively easy with the New Pornographers. We can tour. Yeah. All right. Great. Pandemic, you know? And so, there's, what are you going to do but like laugh about it? And,
right.
And I do think that when the visuals release the record, it's going to be great. I think a lot of people are waiting for the record. I've been waiting far too long. They've been very patient about it. And so we'll put it out hopefully next year.
Okay. Now, how about Elle Belle? Where can we find that album? Is it?
Yeah. So so I have 3 records out.
Nice.
The debut record is called Wacko Gumbo, and it's a double album. It's got 20 songs on it. And that's on Spotify. Okay. Or iTunes, all the streaming.
Right.
All the streaming stuff. And then I put out a Bandcamp only record called Hang On, It's a Dream. And that's available on my Bandcamp, Elle Belle. I don't know if I can send you the links if you want to
All
put it in
right.
the description
Yeah,
of
that'd
the
be
YouTube.
fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, Elle Belle at bandcamp.com or something like that. And then my last record that I put out was called No Signal, which was a very synth heavy record, and my most successful record to date, which is good. It feels like I'm building, I was able to tour, and I actually like made a little bit of money to release a record as an independent, indie artist, because it's an indie label, right? We're not talking about a ton of money and all that stuff. It's my buddy Pierre. He's got a bunch of cool artists. We put out some records and stuff like that. But just at that level, to even break even is an insane feat. And I was able to do a mini West Coast tour and an East Coast tour, break even on those, come back, and with album sales, pocket a little bit of money to put into making the next record for the first time in my career. Yeah, it was. Wonderful. I remember Pierre called me and he's like, "Hey man, we got some money left over." I'm like, "All right, just keep it. I'm coming into the studio." And so we did. I bought this new album that I'm releasing on November 13th. It's all to tape for the first time. We went into Pierre's studio in Highland Park. Awesome studio. Probably the coolest studio I've ever been in. It's called 64 Sound. And got a band. Rob Humphreys on drums, Misty Boyce on keyboard, Phil Cronengold on guitar, and then my buddy Zach Jones and Pierre swapped off on bass, back and forth. And over 2 days, we cut, I think, 8 tunes, something like that, all to tape. So, we just played the song, 3 or 4, 5 times at most, took the best take and did a little bit of editing, a little bit of overdub. But I'm just never going to do it another way than what I did on this last one. Because I have a tendency to fuss. I fuss with recordings. I'll re-record stuff. It's just it's a bad habit I get into where I want to make it perfect, and committing something to tape and just being like, that's it, warts and all. Once you get over the initial disconcerting, once you get over not hearing it exactly perfect and you step away from it, when you listen to it weeks later or a month later, the mistakes become the charm. It becomes my favorite part. But I need to give myself that space. I'm too quick to try and repair a happy accident, essentially. And tape kind of slapped my hand. This process kept that tendency at bay. And I'm so glad it did, because it sounds great. I'm so stoked on the record. The songs are awesome, if I do say so myself, and it sounds awesome, and I'm pumped.
I look forward to hearing it. It sounds amazing. And well, I know you are really good. You're a wonderful musician, and what you do just blows my mind that you do it. What exactly does a mini tour mean, though, as an indie musician?
Right. So it means that I call it that when it's less than 2 weeks. So I did the West Coast. I think I was on the road for 10 days. And I think there were 5 dates in there. And then on the East Coast, I did 4 dates, I think, and I was there for 2 weeks. It was something like that, if I recall. So I guess 9 or 10 dates is, maybe that's, somebody wouldn't call it a mini tour, but I love the touring where I'm gone for 3 months and I'm doing 15, 20 dates. That sort of touring, I really like. I like being on the road. I like traveling. I like that lifestyle. I like meeting new people, and it's just, I like that energy.
Well, hopefully you can get back to doing that soon. Hopefully, when this thing is over, people are going to want to hear live music and get back to dancing and socializing again. Hopefully sooner than later.
Yeah, and hopefully it I wonder what it'll look like. I mean, I do think that it will go back to normal. I know a lot of my friends, excuse me, a lot of my friends feel like it's changed forever. That
Yeah.
this has changed, and maybe there will be things that stick with us, but I feel that humans are a bit more like they're more adverse to change than they are to getting sick. And I think that people will want to go back to normal. I don't think human beings have a tendency to change very easily.
Right.
Um, and I think for a lot of times that's good. I mean, I hope if it does change, I hope it changes for the better. Um, and I'm talking specifically in like live shows.
Right.
There's a lot about this pandemic in a general sense that I hope these changes stick, like people not having to commute as much. Um, I, I, well, I wished that a lot of this pandemic went differently. I think it was a squandered opportunity on a lot of levels because of the administration. But anyway, in specific about playing live in venues, I think we're going to be back rocking. And
Good.
maybe that's just naive optimism, but and
We
I'm
need
not even
that.
saying it. Yeah, and
We
it's
need,
and not even soon, but I mean next summer. I'm hoping
right.
concerts
Well,
will be back. You know.
yeah, I think a lot of people are with you on that. We need people to, we need this to start happening again. The concerts. I mean, that's how you make memories. Friends get together, families, go do things, and concerts have always been one of the go-to things, the very special
Yeah.
things. What was your most favorite concert experience?
um. Oh man, so many.
Good. I like that.
Probably probably seeing Daniel Johnston for the first time in Austin, Texas. I was there for South by Southwest, and if I don't know if you know who Daniel Johnston is. He passed away recently, unfortunately. I guess it's been a couple of years now, but he's one of my favorite songwriters, and he was from Austin, and just a very enigmatic guy. Suffered from a bit of mental illness. Not a bit. He suffered from mental illness, and but just I got to meet him and chat with him a bit, and I had a couple friends who sang with him in his band right before he passed away, and so I got to meet him when I was a bit younger because that concert, that Austin, well, not younger, that was like 10 years ago. I first saw him, and then a few years back before he died, I got to see and meet him again. And he's definitely he's not for everyone. He's abrasive, but there's something so magical about his songs that it's just one of my favorite shows. I was moved to tears when I first saw him live.
Wow. That I'm really glad you had a chance to have that experience, because it stays with you forever.
Yeah, yeah.
What was one of the most wonderful experiences for you as a performer? Like that really stood out, or has there been one? Have they all been great?
Yeah, I mean, I love performing so much, and um, I'm trying to think if there's one in particular. There's nothing in particular that comes to mind as like a specific show or a specific memory that I can go, oh, that's just the best. It's more like I just a lot of different memories pop into my head. And I think it's because there's so many good ones. Like there's so many uh, great moments that I've had on stage, especially with the visuals in particular, because there, being in a band, there's just such a deeper connection and a deeper level. It just feels like you're in the trenches with these other people. Um, and you're all just like sweating together, and just being on the road. And even like if like only like 5 people show up in Cincinnati or whatnot. I think there was like this awful show we had in Cleveland. Um, and the venue was great. The staff was awesome. We ended up drinking with them after the show, but I think like 2 people showed up. And I don't know, there's something memorable about that too. You know, I popped into my head. There's no real uh, reason other than I still look back and kind of smile about it, you know?
That's so awesome. Well, those 2 people had an amazing show, I'm sure. You know,
Yeah, you
and
hope
it's
so.
great that you kept playing. You know, you didn't
Yeah,
cancel it. You know, and
yeah.
it's about the music.
Yeah, you gotta play sometimes to those people,
Well, hopefully you get the big
aka no
crowd.
people.
Keep it empty. So, well, would have you? I know a lot of bands are playing on Zoom. Is that something that you would consider
Yeah,
doing?
I've done a couple of streaming shows on Zoom. The visuals are harder because I don't know of any technology that can like sync people who aren't in a room together.
Right,
Um, but we have been considering doing like a pre-taped thing
right,
where everybody plays their part, and then I can like edit it together so that we're like, I'll shift the timing so
right.
everybody's. But with Elle Belle, I've done a couple where I'm playing to tracks on my computer,
Mhm.
and I'll sing and play guitar, which
Oh,
has been really cool. And I did a pre-taped show for this blog called Badass Bands.
I
It's a
like
great
that.
LA blog. This girl named Jo runs it. She's just a really knowledgeable, energetic, awesome girl that runs this kick-ass blog, and she just knows so much about the local scene and has really great taste. And so she included me in their 9th anniversary party. They've
Nice.
been 9 years now, a blog in LA, and so I did that, which was great. That my performance on that is actually on my YouTube channel. It's about 25 minutes long, and there's a couple I like edited it. Like I said, it was pre-taped. I'm
Mhm.
playing a lot of it live, guitar and singing. Then, like I said, there's like some backing tracks, but it's all like pre-taped, so I was able to edit transitions and get a little goofy with it. So
Well, great. You're in the creative flow. You know,
yeah, trying to stay right. I don't mind.
what is your YouTube channel?
It's Elle Belle Music, I believe. Um,
Okay.
again, I'll send
Good.
you.
All right. So good. And how about can we find you on social media like Facebook or Instagram or
Yeah. So Instagram is Elle Belle Band, and I don't really do the Facebook thing, but it
okay.
is Elle Belle Music on Facebook, or you can just straight up go to my website, which is ellebellemusic.com.
Okay.
And then
Cool.
it has all my socials right on that front page, including my YouTube. So that's probably the best bet. Just Elle Belle Music. I've got some music up there, some photos, video, and all that sort of stuff.
I will definitely check that out. I will definitely check that out. Okay, I want to so back to what you do with Airbnb
Yeah.
of creating this music. Has there ever been an experience for you that's just been absolutely horrible that you wish you didn't do it? And what did you do about it? Or has that
Um,
happened? Because you seem like you're such a nice guy and you're just so in the flow.
yeah. There was. I wouldn't say that there's been a horrible experience in so far as like getting into an argument with somebody, or anything like that. Most people are just so they hire me because they rely on my expertise. So when I'm giving feedback, or suggestions, they're more than happy to take them. And like you said before, I'm a very amicable person too. Like
Yes.
if they really believe in something, I'm like, let's make it work then. Let's go for it.
Okay.
Let's do it. You know? I would say that my most, the one that comes to mind is when there was one time where we didn't get a song. At the end of the session, we just we didn't finish anything. And unfortunately it was one of these situations where it was with a teenage girl. I think she was maybe 13, 14, if I recall. And the mom was just, every time we hit on something, she would go into the vocal booth and try and get her to do something else. And you could tell the kid almost like didn't want to be there. And it was like almost like the mom was trying to do something through the kid, maybe. I don't know. It wasn't for, like, I could tell the girl wasn't having fun. The mom was trying to like get something out of her, and she wouldn't let me just like let's take that idea and run with it. She'd be like, try something else. And we ended up just with nothing solid at the end. And they didn't really complain. They weren't like, hey, where's our song? Like, it was just kind of like, okay, thank you. And I'm like, okay, thanks. what did I do? I don't, just like recorded you two arguing for like 2 hours.
Oh my God.
It's just like, so, but that's only happened once.
Well, good. Hopefully it never happens again.
Yeah. And I mean, maybe they did have fun and that's what they wanted out of it. Like I said, they were super nice. Like they weren't combative with me or anything like that. It was just seemed like it was like the mom trying to get like the daughter to do like homework. Just like, you know.
All right. Well, okay. What has been your most memorable experience during one of these?
Oh, man.
Like the most fun,
well, I mean,
most crazy?
Yeah, I mean, Olivia's, especially the Project Search, when I got sent that video, for context, your daughter graduated from Project Search, right? That's like a program. Yeah. And we wrote a graduation song together, and the professor over there sent me a video of all the graduates singing along to the song, which was just awesome. That was great. Another one that stands out is I worked with a guy from Japan who didn't really speak English, and we had to communicate via Google Translate, which was really interesting, trying to say these like really nebulous songwriting things. A lot of times it's hard enough with English speakers to get a common vocabulary when describing sound. What sounds tingly or bassy or trying to, you know, describe these sounds. People describe them in different ways, English speakers. So a lot of times my initial job when somebody is coming in to write a song with me, I'll have them choose a few songs that they like, and I'll have them point out the elements that they like so that we can start to build a common vocabulary. Well, with somebody who doesn't even speak your first language, I was like, how is this going to work? And I always forget how much I don't need to talk. Like some things music is a universal language. Right. There was so many times where we just knew by like, and he'd be like playing the guitar and he's like, you know, there was this one time where he played this certain chord and I rushed to Google to type in "That's So Beautiful." And I started typing, and before I could even finish, he took his hand and put it on my heart, and he was like, I know.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
And it's just awesome. Yeah.
So how was that song? How did that song turn out?
It was great. It was an instrumental. It was awesome. It was really fun working with them. And yeah, so that was a memorable one as well.
Wow. So what, your youngest person, how old was? I mean, what age range do you work with?
So I did a 4-year-old is the
A
youngest.
4-year-old. Wow. What was that like?
It was great. So that one's a little, maybe I'm cheating a little bit because it was a friend's daughter.
Okay.
So I had a rapport with the friend, and the challenge really was, I mean, the 4-year-old isn't really singing anything in particular. It's we had some lyrics and we tried to get her to sing the best she could, but it's a 4-year-old. She'd
Right.
sing for a little bit and get interested in something else. And we were following her around with a mic, just trying to catch words that I could form into some sort of sentence. And it came out really, really good.
Oh, it sounds
Um,
adorable.
and then an 11-year-old was the next up, which was, she was great. She was awesome. Her and her dad came. They were from
Mhm.
Seattle. Her and her dad came, and he helped her write lyrics, and
Nice.
it's awesome. So
Do you ever do more than one singer? I mean, do like people come in groups or
hmm.
to get like two people or so or?
Yeah, I had a group of guys. I think they were like right out of high school, and they were all friends. There were 5 of them, I think, and they were traveling to LA with one of the friends' moms, who
Uh-huh.
booked this, and they came in and did like a rap song where they all took a verse, and that was a lot of fun. All that teenage boy energy was, I hadn't been around it in a while. Even when I was a teenager, I didn't have that teenage boy energy. I was an old man since I was a little kid. Just like, I want to go feed the pigeons. Like, I didn't.
But did you like the way it came out? Were
Oh
they really
yeah,
happy?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah,
that's so exciting.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
great.
That's part of the fun too of this, is I get to do a lot of different genres, because I'm always learning too. So I get to, oh yeah, how does Beyonce get that kick drum there? Let's check out YouTube and see,
Yeah.
learn about some new production trick or something like that.
Now, how about older people? I mean, like senior citizens or more mature adults. Do they ever go in
Um,
for the experience?
I I've had a few adults, but it's mostly, I think the age group is like 22 to 31, like
Okay.
somewhere in there. I think is where most of my clientele are. Um, but I've had some older people as well, but no one. I wouldn't say anybody over 50. I don't think, if I recall. And of course, I don't want
Well,
to be like, oh, there's that one woman that may have been older, and she's like actually
but yeah.
like 49, and I'm like, oh, she maybe been 60. No. But no one comes to mind as being over, 50.
Well, I still think it's like a great gift. Like say, even like a couple celebrating their 30th or 40th wedding anniversary or
Yeah, I've had
just
that before. There was this girl that was buying the experience for her husband, and her husband was a big Third Eye Blind fan. I don't know if you remember that band from the '90s. And so it just so happens that one of my best friends played for that band for a little bit. And
oh
so
wow.
I got him to play on the track for her. And she was just like over the moon that like a Third Eye Blind member played on her husband's, I think it was an anniversary gift. She took a poem that he wrote and brought it over to me, and I sang and played the instruments and stuff like that. But it was his lyrics.
Wow, that those are the best kind of gifts. Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a great, when anybody like emails me and is like, this is going to be a gift for my husband or girlfriend or whatever, I'm like, you nailed it. This is going to be great. They're going to love it.
Well, I know when Olivia turned 21, and I found because I was looking everywhere, what do you do for her 21st birthday, right?
Right.
And I thought that was like the most perfect gift, and
Yeah. Yeah.
like I said, it has changed her life. She's just Yeah. So I'm
That's
I'm so
awesome.
grateful.
Oh,
And
that's so great.
I would love people, to know about you and say, hey, this is a one, it really is a very unique, one of a kind of experience that, you do something that you wouldn't do otherwise.
Yeah. And I didn't mean to like start off this whole interview by saying I don't want any new people. I didn't mean to
You
say it like that, but I just, whether it's my own psychology, it's just, and I do find that like I caveat stuff too much, but I still am having a blast with it. And I still think that I'm writing great songs over Zoom. It's just my own perfectionism of just hoping that people know that if we get to know each other creatively over Zoom, that when this is all over, you should come and try it in person,
The in
Um,
studio experience is
yeah,
amazing.
yeah, yeah.
But the option is there to do it on Zoom.
Yes.
Right.
Again, I wouldn't, especially people seeing this and hearing that spiel, I would feel much more comfortable of going into it and going, hey, look, just by nature of this, we're over the internet. This is going to be a unique experience, and doing it in person is a different type of experience. And
Right.
but I'm, like I said, I'm still getting great results via Zoom. People are still happy, so it could be completely in my head. Maybe people like the Zoom version better. Who knows? But I am still doing them, and I would be perfectly happy to take on somebody new for
Oh,
sure.
wonderful. Well, you're, like I said, you are an amazing person and you have such an incredible energy and you are in that flow of creativity that is so inspiring. So
Thank
I
you.
love you. I love you. Um, you also compose music for movies and commercials, right?
Yeah, yeah. Um, and I've been doing some co-writing also with like other artists. I got a cut on an album for this Canadian band that did pretty well. That was probably the biggest song I wrote. They were called Modern Spaces. A Small Pocket is the song, and it did pretty well. And then, yeah, I've been doing like some commercial work, but mostly, most of my work now has been Airbnb, like these types of co-writes, and then doing more co-writing with other artists. Um, I haven't done a lot of commercial work as of recently.
Yeah.
I think those things slowed down a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't think I don't think ad agencies and brands and companies are really looking to drop a ton of money on advertising right now, perhaps.
Right.
Um, but that's also a world where you have to sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? You kind of have to be, what's next? Got anything for me? Got anything for me? Got anything for me? And I've just been so busy. Like I'm writing every day still, and being able to support myself. So I just haven't been maybe as active as I could be in that area of seeking those opportunities like I used to. Um, a lot of that stuff is very um, you you don't get paid if your song doesn't get in the commercial, and a lot of it is a lot of people are submitting, but if you get it, it's a windfall of cash. I mean,
Right.
even the smaller ones are like 10 grand in one, like boop. So I would probably do a ton of work for free until I caught one that was like really good, and that would keep me afloat for a bit while I worked for free again, quote unquote, to
Right.
like get the next one. And with the Airbnb stuff, it's just more consistent and more
Fun.
um what's that?
More fun.
And more fun. Yeah,
Fun. Yeah.
exactly. More fun. It feels like I'm actually like doing something instead of just like making something for somebody to sell. It just feels more fulfilling to me too.
Well, I think too, you don't charge a lot of money, but your rate is
I
like
don't.
very affordable, which, for an LA studio, I mean, it's like a steal for the
That's
experience.
purposeful.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody. I don't want anybody to not try songwriting because they can't afford it. Even my rate, if somebody really has a problem with it, I'm always willing to slide the scale. You know, it, it. I want people to experience this, and there, I. I would have a really hard time thinking that people aren't doing it because I've priced them out of it. That's something that I'm constantly afraid of, and a lot of people are like, you can't do this for free. You got to charge more and blah blah blah. And I'm really resistant to it because the, it's a bit tongue in cheek, but I almost wish that nobody could make money off of music because then only like musicians would actually do it.
Right.
And so maybe there's a bit of guilt I feel from making money off of it at all. Like, I don't know, but whatever psychology that is, I just know that in my heart, I want to be able to offer this to anybody who wants to do it.
Well, I am very grateful that you are. And my daughter is too. And so I feel absolutely lucky having found you. And I want more people to find you because, you are a joy to work with and you come up with incredible stuff and you really just open up that whole vault of creativity. It's like, and I love it. And I can't wait, for Olivia's next song. And
I know. I've got the chorus put together.
Oh, so I mean, you're just so much fun and you're so easy to work with. And I really appreciate that. And
Thank you.
And whatever chance I get, I'm like, you got to go see Christopher, so you got to work with him. He's amazing. And, so many people want to be singers. You think of like The Voice or American Idol, and they're that age group you're talking about, 21 or like 17 or whatever to 30. But you can help make magic happen for someone. You could.
Yeah. I mean, that's such a great part of it too, is like letting people hear themselves in a way that they've never heard themselves before, and letting them see themselves as a creative person. I think the biggest transformation I see when they arrive at my door to when they leave is being like not realizing what they could do.
Right.
And that is just the best when they leave and they go, I didn't know I had that in me. And that's just like, I'm like, I did my job then. They get to see themselves as awesome, creative forces with a beautiful voice or a beautiful way that they can play the instrument. And it's just great for people that I get to be there when they're having that experience of seeing themselves in a beautiful light. It's awesome.
And what's great is that you're a professional musician doing it, so what you're talking about, what you're doing, and and you have a great ear, and it's just amazing. I'm so proud of you, and I'm so grateful that you do it. And I want everyone go see Christopher Pappas. You can, I'm gonna post information how people can find you too.
Yeah, I'll give you the link, and I'll give you my where people can email me if they're interested in doing the experience, and I'll zip my lip about. I won't give too many caveats about it being over Zoom.
But you are amazing, and thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm going to share your links for your music, because you're a very talented guy, and you're a celebrity, it's like awesome. I'm like so excited, and the indie art scene, that's not easy to crack into, and you're doing it.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's, I just haven't given up. I think I outlasted everybody. It was just like like the scene had to let me in because I wasn't leaving. I was pounding on the door for I'm not leaving. The more you ignore me, I'm just gonna pound harder. And then they were fine, just let him in. I just wore people out, I think, and now they're like, fine, just be around me.
Good, because we get more music from you. I love it. So, Christopher, thank you so very much for your time. I greatly appreciate it, and I want you to just be flooded with people where you have the new person like all the time, and you have to make time for your own music. But
well, it's a good time because I'm done a couple records, so I have a little more time on my hands. So
okay, great. Well, thank you so much. All right, you be
Thank you.
safe out there, and I will hopefully talk with you really soon. And I'll definitely hear your music soon. Definitely.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you so much for having me. Cheers.
Mwah. Cheers.